but it is efficiency.
Yeah.
At task management. So, do I want to go through 400 emails and figure out what is an important email and what is not an important email?
No.
Absolutely not. Am I completely happy for Claude to take control of my machine, go through my email, judge based on my criteria what is important and what is not important, and then flag to me, and then in fact actually potentially even write a response on my behalf, and then even send the response on my behalf?
Right.
I am increasingly more willing
Right.
to have Claude do those kinds of things.
Right.
The manual task of finding contacts on LinkedIn and linking in with them, it's the sort of thing that it's not that hard, I guess, because you can only do so many in a day, but you still got to go and find these people. You got to figure it all out. Or I can show Claude what I want it to do, and it goes off and does it every morning for me automatically.
Right. But then you've got the flip side to that, which actually takes us on to one of our other things, which is the accountability piece. It's like, you've got to direct Claude, but also because Claude is a very naughty boy, you've got to tell it,
Or girl.
Or girl.
Or if.
That's true, Claudine. Or basically, you've got to tell it what you want it not to do as well, and that is, potentially a limitless list of things. And there's that great example of that guy who set Claude the task of was it securing like a speaker spot at the World Economic Forum in Davos.
That's right.
He woke up in the morning to find that he had secured his slot, but he had also basically committed to a $40,000 sponsorship or something like that.
Yeah, he'd spent I think he'd given it his credit card rather than you're supposed to give it like a debit card with a limited amount.
That's right.
It may have been open Claude, not Claude, but it was definitely one of those sort of agentic solutions.
Yes,
that
people
are getting exposed to. But yeah, I mean, of course, there's the risks that are always going to come with these new technologies when they're misunderstood. But
there are certain things that we make assumptions around as a, as a culture, which may be organizationally, it may be in terms of like, American expectations or British expectations. There's a lot of things that are unsaid but still understood. Whereas not necessarily increasingly, but sometimes you get these situations where it's apparent that the AI tool isn't on board with those assumptions, and that you needed to tell it not to do a certain thing when didn't even think about that.
Right. Yeah.
And again, I guess the accountability piece is that obviously the AI platform has no accountability. At the end of the day, whatever happens, you can point your finger at it, but so what? So from an organizational perspective, in terms of value, in terms of work, in terms of dealing with clients and the rest of it, there's got to be some person that takes accountability for it.
Yeah.
Makes the final call and bears the consequences of how that plays out.
Yeah. I think that's a really important point around governance is, I think very, very clearly the governance and the responsibility rests with the human in the loop. Like it has to, because you can't have people blaming the agent for things that are going tragically wrong, because they're like, what do you do then?
Well, then this raises a really interesting point, because I just read in the New York Times, I think literally yesterday, that like cops in San Francisco, traffic cops, are going to be able to give tickets to Waymo vehicles, but like Waymo vehicles are obviously driverless vehicles. So then who bears responsibility for that? Well, ultimately, presumably it's then, if it's a fine, Google, which owns Waymo, I think they've got to pay the fine. But then that collides with the whole, the whole debate about should social media platforms be held accountable for the things that people do on their platforms. And of course, it's a different debate, but there's a sort of a melting pot there to the extent of like, who do you hold accountable for some of these technological kind of like transformations that we've gone through that don't make it quite clear where accountability is held?
Yeah.
And it can be very problematic.
Yeah. And I think that's been the model for technology companies for the last 20 or 30 years has been because it can do something, and because the thing it can do appears to be better than the thing it's over changing, disrupting,
Yeah.
then it should be done, even if the laws, even if the society's not ready for it yet.